it's Julia. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're doing well. I have for you a project that I worked on this week, and it is this bright colored fish scene. It could be a tropical or it could be a lake scene, as I live here in Minnesota and we're gearing up for that lake season. It says, when you fish upon a star. It's very whimsical and very bright. I wanted to share some techniques that I used in creating the background, and also it does have the envelope back on it, and I wanted to share with you at the end how an easy trick on how to get the pillow forms inside this type of closure. So I hope you enjoy this video. Let's get started. I will be using the Arteza Fabric paints for this. I've seen these out recently and really have been itching to try them, and Arteza has been so kind as to send them to me. They are permanent, they are washer and dryer safe, and they're non-toxic, and they come in 24 different colors. The color choice is pretty good. I wish they had some skin tones in them, but hopefully down the line they will add some more colors. I am using a piece of canvas for this that I have pre-washed. This is a heavier ounce canvas, and everything will be listed down below for you. I cut it 18 inches by 18 inches, and that is the exact size of my pillow form. I do like my pillowcases to be tight, and so I do cut them the exact same measure as the pillow. And I'll be taking 1/2 inch seam allowances. For the back part of the closure, I measured 12.5 inches by the 18 inches, and that just seems to work the best for me. And you, of course, will need 2 of those to form that envelope backing. For some of the other appliques, I'm going to be using this Blackout lining fabric. I like using that because it doesn't fray, and it really is a bright white, so it takes paint really well. I'm going to be using my gel printing plates for my design, and this is the large size, a 12-inch by 14-inch. I just really enjoy that size when I'm printing on fabric. Each one of these has a little sealer on the top that needs to be removed, and I'm using 3 different shades of the blue. I will say that this does have a different consistency than like an acrylic paint. It's almost, it does have a little bit sticky. I don't know how to explain it, and it just has a different translucent feel to it. It feels like it has fabric medium in it, and it does not say that on the package anywhere, but because a lot of the fabric paints do, and so it just feels like that is the case, that it does have that fabric medium already in with it. I'm just using my brayer to spread out some different colors. I like that splotchy look. And then this is just a mark maker that I actually found at a thrift store, and I think it was a Memories Keeper, and it just has different shapes on it, and it just really adds some nice texture. Just smoothing that canvas. And the first print didn't take as much. This paint also dries really quickly, and it does say on the package that you can add water as needed. And so from now that I know, I am spritzing it with water before I lay my piece on there. Notice how I fold that piece. It's so large that I fold it. That's just an easy way to get it on the plate somewhat straight. I removed my printing plate now, and I'm just going to be adding some more paint right through a stencil. Just getting some different layers and just different textures. It all just adds interest to the background. This is my smaller gel printing plate, and I'm just using it as a stamp. Just added that paint right to it, and just using it as a block, basically, just to give it, give it a different layer on the top of it. Doing a couple shades of green, and this time I'll be laying on a piece of that blackout lining fabric. Using that mark maker, and then just getting my piece on there. I love how that mark maker adds texture to this. You can use anything. If you don't have, you can use like a palette knife, or there's so many different things that you can add texture with this gel printing plate. It's so much fun to work with and just experiment with. Just smoothing that out. And we're going to do one more color combination in the purples and pinks. I'm going to add a stencil on this one with numbers on it. And when you do that, you want the stencil to be positioned upside down or backwards, because you want them to be right side when you pull the piece. You'll see here when I pull it. This is a really wonderful, great impression. I realized that I needed another one in yellows, and I had already put my big plate away, so I am just using my little plate here in the same way and just getting some yellow onto this piece. Just adding texture with a stencil. I'm going to add some stars with right through a stencil. I have a makeup sponge that I'm applying this paint right on top. I wanted to also just see how opaque the paint is and if you can layer. Now my blue is completely dry underneath, and it did quite well with just the layering one color on top of another. You can really see the texture on the background when you see that. This is such a fun way. This is a star die that I recently got in the mail. Thank you so much, Kim. I love it. I'm just rolling this through. Just using my Big Shot. Now, if you don't have a Big Shot, you can certainly hand cut your appliques. I just do so much of this that I do use my Big Shot a lot. This is a fish die now that I'm running through. And I did it in 3 different colors. I got the orange and the pink and the green. Lining those all up so they're right on top of each other, and then I'm just cutting that fish into 3 different parts. I drew a design of just a seaweed design, and I'm cutting that out. I know I'm using fabric scissors to do this. I have my scissors in different categories. I have some that are almost dull, and then I have my real dull ones, and then I have my good, absolutely do not use on paper ones. So this was one that was getting pretty dull. Just laying my design out. This is the fun part, just creating your scene. I really love how both the background turned out with these paints and also the appliques. There's so much texture and just they're really fun. Decided that's pretty much how I want to have it. And then I'm just using white school glue to get these down into place. Now, people ask me all the time if this gums up my sewing machine. It does not. But I leave it to completely dry. I'm not going to go to my sewing machine with this paint or with this glue still wet. But then I have never had a problem with it. And it is washable. It's going to just pretty much dissolve when you wash it. So it works great. I have my heat erase pens now, and I'm just getting my words on there. Just make sure that I have a room for it all and how I want the layout to be. I'm using my clear monofilm thread, and I'm going to be outlining or just stitching all these on using free motion. I'm using my clear thread because I don't want my thread to show, because I'm going to be adding doodles, and I'm adding my doodles with my Arteza fabric markers. This is my favorite way to use the fabric markers is for doodling and adding words. They're really fun to work with. And here I am just adding the doodles. I also outlined some of my applique pieces with this pen. Right here you can see I'm adding dashes and dots and little squiggles. One more product that I'm going to be showing you with the Arteza, and this is the dimensional paint. So this really adds a texture, and I really like this for like the fish eyes. I'm going to add some bubbles, and it's raised when it's dried. I'm also going to add just a little bit of it to some of these words, just to make them pop a little bit more. Adding some dots to it. And a little more doodles right on the fish. I'm going to zoom in and just do a little on the tail as well, just adding some dots. It's on to heat setting. You do need to leave it dry for 6 hours. And then to set the paint, iron the back using medium heat for approximately 5 minutes. When ironed, it can be washed up to 104 degrees Fahrenheit, and you wash and iron inside out. Now to construct my pillow. This is the back envelope closure part of it, and I've edge finished both of my long sides with my serger, and just going to fold down and iron approximately 3/4 of an inch or so, a little bit less than an inch. And then we'll be straight stitching this straight down. And doing the same with the other side. And again, this is serged, or I edge finished it. And we'll be sewing that as well with my straight stitch, going all the way down both sides of these. My right sides are together now, and I'm just laying those back pieces, forming that closure, and pinning that into place. Now I will be taking a 1/2 inch seam allowance, going all the way around. Getting the last few pins, and I do go back and forth at that opening a couple times just to reinforce my stitching. Getting my serger tails cut off there, and then just turning this so it's right sides out. I'm going to be poking out those corners. And now for the pillow. This is just a 18 by 18 pillow insert that I purchased at a craft store. This is the trick of getting these in. You fold that top layer to the back side. you stuff your pillow in, getting it into the corners. Once your pillow is into place, you just flip that top flap over, and your pillow is in there the way it needs to be. I just find this is the easiest way to get those pillows in there. I hope you enjoyed this little hint. And this is what it looks like. I'm going to be sharing some pictures at the end. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much, everybody who's joined me today. Bye for now.